You're here because you don't know your Bottas from your button. I'm here to teach you the joys of F1. This is foundation level Formula 1. By the end of this, I won't be expecting you to be able to drive an F1 car, but you will be able to understand what all the fuss is about. First things first, the name. The formula refers to... not that. It refers to the regulations that the teams and the drivers must obey. The 1 denotes that it's the highest level of motorsport under its governing body, the FIA. For goodness sake. In 2014, there will be 19 races, or Grand Prix, French for big prize. Every track is different, with each one in a different country spread across 5 continents. The races can be fast, dusty, hot, cold, wet. Some are on streets and some are even at night. Under floodlights, of course. Every race, 11 teams turn up to compete. Each team has a team principal, 2 drivers and a group of brainiacs who build the cars. The race is not the only bit of action that could be seen over a Grand Prix weekend. It generally starts on a Friday with 2 sessions called free practice. These sessions allow the drivers to get used to the track and the engineers to make sure everything is working on the car. It doesn't always go to plan. On Saturday, there's another free practice before the real action starts with qualifying. Qualifying has 3 exciting knockout sessions where they fight against the clock to decide what position each driver will start the race in. The fastest car starting at the front and the slowest car starting at the back. Everybody else in between.
Here's Mark Webber now, takes the checkered flag, provisional pole is his by almost a second. Has Sebastian Vettel got enough though to knock his teammate off the top of the grid? Yes, by a 10th, and now here comes Lewis Hamilton, and he's on pole, 4 in a row. It's Lewis Hamilton on pole position, snatching it for Mercedes right at the death.
The main event on the Sunday starts with all the cars waiting for the lights to go out. No green lights here. And then it's a race to finish the allotted laps, hopefully in one piece. There will be crashes, there will be pit stops, and there will be overtakes, all at breakneck speed. The top 10 finishers each earn championship points, with the winner receiving 25 and the driver coming in 10th earning 1. The driver with the most points at the end of the season earns the Drivers' Championship. The team or constructor receives the points earned by both drivers, and this goes towards their fight for the Constructors' Championship. This year, the last race, which is in Abu Dhabi, will be worth double points to each driver, so it'll be all to play for right till the final checkered flag is waved. Right then, time for your F1 history lesson. The Formula 1 series began back in 1950. The field was made up of a few big car manufacturers, Alfa Romeo, Ferrari, Mercedes-Benz and Maserati, but the rest were privateers.
Army hearties!
No, not pirates. Men with the time and money to go racing against other thrill-seekers. The 50s saw the first giant of the sport emerge, Argentina's Juan Manuel Fangio. With 5 world titles, he is recognised as a sporting great, an icon to those that followed. After Fangio's 50s came the British-dominated 60s. World titles for British teams and drivers came in thick and fast. The 1970s saw a cash boom in the sport. Televised events led to advertising appearing on the cars. And so the sport realised its billion-dollar potential, and more money led to greater investment in car development. All this led to more speed and in turn greater safety concerns. Fatal incidents were becoming commonplace, and the sport went to great lengths to bring track and car safety up to date with the ever-increasing speeds of the cars. The increased coverage of the sport helped to sell the glitz and glamour of F1, propelling drivers to international stardom. One man who epitomised living life in the fast lane was Britain's James Hunt, a world champion in 1976 and to this day one of the greats of British sport. Men wanted to be him, women wanted him. In the 1980s, a British team by the name of McLaren began to assert its dominance on F1. The man behind the wheel was the next great of the sport, Francis Alain Prost. He picked up 3 of his 4 world titles with McLaren. But there was another hot on his heels, some say the best the sport has ever seen, the great Ayrton Senna. The Brazilian raced his way to 3 world titles before a fatal accident at Imola in 1994, which stunned the world. F1 was so technically advanced by this stage, engineers and aerodynamicists were just as important as drivers. 1991 saw Ross Brawn and a young German begin arguably the sport's most potent partnership. Michael Schumacher, a man willing to push his body, mind and sometimes the rules to the limit, drove to his first world title in 1994, with Ross by his side. He went on to win a record 7 world titles, 5 back-to-back with Ferrari. But in 2009, another and just as impressive Anglo-German partnership began. This time the brains came from British aerodynamicist Adrian Newey, the driver an unassuming Sebastian Vettel, and the team Red Bull. Between them, they've broken every record going, and they look unlikely to stop until they become the greatest of all time. Join us on Sky Sports F1, the only place to catch every session of all 19 races this year. Catch all the action from the Malaysian Grand Prix from the 28th to the 30th of March.